Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. For today's valued viewer requested video, we've got from CJ MTB, bit of an odd name but all good, Cap's favourite modules. Hey Cap, what are your favourite modules in DCS, I'm guessing? Like top 10. I know you've talked about this before, but like, what are your all-time favourite? Actually, I haven't talked about this before, so I'm kind of glad you asked, because we get to talk some banter. So what we've done is stand by. So we have this picture here. The kudos goes to whoever created this on Wikipedia. We've just pinched it basically. We've got here the aeroplane modules in DCS, here the helicopter modules in DCS, here the maps in DCS, and here the next stuff that's up and coming over the next year or so in DCS. Now, first thing, I must make a big disclaimer if you're watching this. This is not an empirical, even a particularly factual or quantifiable video. This is literally answering the question, what are your personal favourites? And so that will come with all of our biases and all our errors as people, all the things we like. You know, so if you're a developer, for instance, looking for feedback, this is not the video for you. Or if you want to know the capabilities of a certain aircraft, this is not the video for you. However, I have created a non-biased set of buyer's guide reviews for each of these modules here, and I will link a playlist link to that if you want to go and watch it in the video description of this video. So to answer the question that the guy asked, which is what's your favorite, we need to have a method of choosing that, because what's your favorite for what, CAS or air attack, or your favorite sounds, or you know. So the way we've tried to do this is I've said to RC, choose your favorite as if you were going to do a middle of the road mission. We do lots of missions, so half serious mission where you needed to get results and bomb a whatever town or something, and a half fun mission where you wanted to have a good time. And which planes would you just want to drive for that mission? If capabilities were not a factor, you know, you didn't need a TGP and you didn't need a moving map, which planes would you feel comfortable, give you a good feeling, you knew that you would work well, you knew wouldn't be buggy, you knew wouldn't be too awkward, and that kind of thing. Which ones are your favourite in that respect? So that's how we're going to answer the question. We've got Cap here. My boxes are going to be purple. Those are my chosen ones. And I should say for planes, we're allowed to choose up to 7 favourites. For helicopters, we're allowed to choose 1. For maps, we're allowed to choose 1. And for upcoming, we're allowed to choose infinite because, well, we don't really know anything about those modules. And we'll discuss the differences between. So, the first one we've got is the A10C. This is one of the biggest modules in DCS. This is the second, if you like, high-definition model that came out for DCS. And it's the one that really, until the Hornet came along, this was the mainstay of DCS. People got into DCS so they could fly their A10C Warhawk. Study level sim, incredibly accurate modeled avionics, targeting systems, weapons, and whatnot. RC's got it as one of his favourites. I don't. I think we're going to be really split here. Now, I don't like it. I never liked it. Reasons are, it's just not my plane. It's not fast. It's not loud. Personally, I don't think it's very sexy. You know, it's as far away as you can get pretty much from my type of thing. And my type of thing is a big, fast, afterburning 1955 to 1970s jet with, at the time, state-of-the-art weaponry and radar. And this is safe, stable, rugged, quiet, efficient in every way. It's just everything that I'm against. Now, the vast majority of you guys would disagree with that and not like me for saying that. Most of you guys out there want fast, quiet, efficient. It's just not what I want in my aeroplane. Why did you choose it, RC?
I think it's the best ground attack aircraft in the game. It's not fast, but it carries a lot of munitions. So once you get on station, you can stay for a long time. Plus, it's modeled well, and it has capabilities that other aircraft don't have. For example, sending SPs to other A-10s and being able to do coordinated attacks,
right?
And being very effective.
So it's your favourite for being effective. It's pretty much my favourite because it is too. It's not my favourite because it is too effective. So we're opposite way around there. So my one question then is, if it's your favourite, why do you never drive it in missions? I never drive it, obviously, because I don't like it.
We don't use it much.
That's true.
Usually we've started out too far away from.
It just doesn't. It doesn't fit
action,
into. It doesn't fit into Grim Reaper's missions. The problem is the A10C and DCS has been superseded by the F18. Right, it's not a good or a bad thing. It just has, and so we have to set up missions more around the F18 and stuff like that, which means long travel distances and stuff like that. And A10C just isn't suited for it.
We just don't have forward air bases.
Yeah, we just don't do cast missions anymore, which has just been superseded. But okay, well, that's an interesting one. I wasn't expecting that, but that's fine. Next, we might as well group these all together. These are the Flaming Cliffs 3 planes, the low fidelity models. There's nothing wrong with them. They're all, to be honest, actually really good. They're just not high fidelity. You've got a MiG-29, 3 variants of, a Su-33, a Su-27, Su-25, Su-25T, A-10A, and F-15. They're all perfectly good. They're all perfectly effective. They're cheap and so on, but I don't think they're going to be in anyone's favourite list because low fidelity and whatnot. Next, we've got a bunch of Warbirds. You got a Mustang, you got a Dora, you got a Curvert, you got a Spitfire. To be honest, when I did my proper reviews of these planes, I thought they were all as good as each other and whatnot. They're just not in my particular favourite list because they're just not really. Anything you got to say about those 4 Warbirds?
I liked all the Warbirds. They're so limited in their scope and specialized that it just didn't fit on my favorite.
Albatross, really good module. I rated it really highly, and in its rating again, it just wasn't my favorite really. I don't particularly want to go and fly it. It just doesn't, just doesn't do it for me. Combined arms shouldn't really be there. It's just there. It's just a little miscellaneous thing. Hawk T1 we no longer have available. It wouldn't be on my list even if it was, but it was certainly a cool looking plane. Mirage RC, loads of people love the Mirage out there. Again, it was it's fairly early. It's one of the earlier planes that came out. As in, we've got a list here of the order in which they came out. So the A10 was the first plane out. Then these guys here. Then the Mustang and so on. So the Mirage was one of the first high fidelity non-Warbird planes out there. People love it. Just not my bag. I've always been put off because the interior sounds. I hate them. They're so quiet. It makes you feel like you're in a whisper jet. What can it do? It just can't do particularly good cap because the missiles are crap. Can't do very good ground attack because the bombs are pretty shit and the bomb sighting system doesn't even work at the moment. It's a cool plane. It's a cool plane. I love it when someone else is flying it. I just don't want to fly it.
It's limited to
it is, and
what it can carry.
Yeah, I don't know its fly-by-wire how it flies. Anything you want to add to the Mirage?
Nope.
MiG-15. It's kind of middle of the road in terms of its graphics and its sounds and stuff like that. It's just a real fun one. I know whenever I go in there, I'm going to have a cool, solid mission. I know I'm going to have fun. It's not complex. You've got to memorize about 3 buttons. You've got thumping great cannons on there to use. And I just have a good time with it every time. Is it capable? No, not really. It can drop like 1 bomb or 2 bombs or something and a cannon, but this isn't, my favourite is not based on capability. It's just how it makes me feel. I think it's a really good, cool module. That Sabre, its counterpart, I've always preferred the MiG-15 to the Sabre. That said, I do actually recommend buying the Sabre over the MiG-15. The Sabre's got some more features, capability, slightly better graphics, but the MiG-15 for me is, I usually prefer the Underdog, and it's Underdog really when compared to the Sabre. So
15 has huge engine on it.
15, that's one of the things. The Sabre is a bit gutless. If you go and drive it, yeah, it is a bit gutless. 15 is a much better power to weight ratio, at least it feels it. Real punchy jet, really good fun. Not very effective, really good fun. Okay, anything you want to add to those two? One just falls up. Yeah, I kind of like that though. It's cheeky. Yeah. I really like the challenge of having to work around a horrendous lag of a centrifugal compressor. Yeah. It's fun. Okay.
I enjoy both those planes, but not my favorites.
Tiger 2. And I think a lot of the viewers would be surprised to see that Tiger 2 is not on our favourites list. It's a good, solid module. It really is. I recommend it. Usually when people say, what's my first module, other than a Hornet or whatever they're going to buy, I say get into a Tiger 2, get into a 3rd gen plane. It's good, it's simple. For me, I've kind of grown out of it. It's a pretty simple plane to fly. Its dynamics are pretty simple. It's very easy to fly for a beginner or something like that. And to be honest, for me, it's just not enough of a challenge anymore. I don't know how you feel about it. Effectiveness, for a 3rd gen plane, it's, average effectiveness. Anything about the Tiger?
No, same thing.
Yeah, again, it's just not. It's a good plane. I'd rate it highly. I hope it sells well. It's just not my favourite. That's all. Vegan. I have a real love-hate relationship with the Vegan. Sorry, I've just gone off page there. It's an incredibly well-modelled module. Graphics are great. Sounds are great. Weapon systems are great. The depth of systems are great. It's just really good all round. That said, strangely enough, I do not have a good time often when I fly the Vegan, and that's because I never really learnt it properly. It's one of the planes that came out before I got into DCS seriously, if you know what I mean. So like the Mirage, the A10C, the KF50, the Mirage and the Vegan were before I got into DCS properly, and so I never really went back and learnt them from scratch like I did, for instance, an F-16 or a F-40. And so I've always struggled with it a bit. I'll probably, because so many modules coming out, I'll probably never go back and learn it properly. That's just the way it is. However, I really enjoy the challenge. I really enjoy those other things. I really enjoy the cheekness of it. It's so different and unapologetic at being different. And if you do it right, you do a proper Vegan strike where you go in with 4 Vegans, 4 human players. You go low, you dodge under the SAMs. There's nothing quite like the exhilaration. And then a fighter will get on your ass. As happens in a lot of our campaigns, and you just stage 3 burn out of there like nothing else can. It's the fastest plane we've got down low, and it's sexy and noisy and smoky and all that kind of thing. Your thoughts on the Vegan, RC?
I think if I had an 8th choice, I would have probably grabbed the Vegan. I really enjoy flying it, but I find it limited sometimes, so
yeah, it
is. Have been in my top 7.
It is limited. It is limited. Now, if you really know, if you're a master of the Vegan, it's not that limited. But most of us are not going to be a master of the Vegan. We haven't got time to sit and learn every single missile and remember them all. So the vast majority of us can fire rockets, we can drop bombs, we can fire a cannon, but we're going to struggle with BK-90s and stuff like that because we've got 38 other modules to remember. So it's just something to bear in mind. Next, MiG-21 must be the favourite. Now, it took me a long time to get into the MiG-21. It took me about 3 years, maybe 4, until I got into the MiG-21. I've only got it recently. And I finally realised what I was missing. I was always a bit scared of it because, you don't want to pay $70 for something that you might hate. And most people you see drive it just crash it. However, it is beautiful. It's from Mag 3. Actually, the sounds are pretty shit. The outside sounds are honestly god-awful terrible. Now I know this because I'm probably one of the most experienced guys out there, maybe in the world, of analysing DCS sound. It's what I do, or I used to do as a video maker. I don't get much time to do it nowadays. And I was always horrendously embarrassed by the MiG-21 when it flew by and just went... and then an F5 would come by and go... It's like, really, Mag 3? That's the best you're going to do? That said, sounds pretty good inside the cockpit. All looks pretty good and stuff like that. And it's, for me... Again, it fits right in my box. 1955 to 1970. I know this is a later biz model, but it's essentially still a 56 base jet. Noisy, smoky, sexy, hard to use, very hard to use. If you go and this is your first simulator, don't go in a MiG-21. You need to learn other planes before you can even dare go in a MiG-21. It will do everything it can to kill you. And that's why you get so much reward from doing a MiG-21, going on a big mission, dropping some bombs and getting back. Just the takeoff and the landing, you get such a buzz because from doing it right. Whereas if you go and do your FC3 plane up here, it's all right for a newbie, but you don't get any reward from it as an experienced virtual pilot because it's easy. And MiG-21 is extremely difficult to fly. You've really got to know it's all hands-on and massively rewarding. I'm going to guess it's going to be the same for you, RC, but anything there?
Yeah, I just like the challenge of flying it. It's, like you said, it's difficult. It has a lot of capability. It's fast. And I just really enjoy flying it. Always have.
Roger. That's that. Good. Yep, fine. C101. To be honest, it's just a really good module. Go and fly it. Go and, it's a shame you can't test a plane for 24 hours or something. That'd be a cool thing maybe. But it's a good module. Is it capable? No, it's a trainer. It's got a few rockets and bombs, and it's even got an anti-ship missile. But it's just a good solid module. The graphics are really good. The sounds are terrible. However, they're in the middle of remaking the sound, so just bear that in mind. It flies really well, I think. A bit wobbly in the pitch, but I always have good fun in the C101. like the L-39, it doesn't fit into DCS anywhere. We can't. The only place we can put them in is in our Warbird 1940s Warbird missions, which is immersion braking. But it's the only place it fits. It can't even do 300 knots, So it's just how it is. But it's not a bad module. It really is a good module. Not a favourite, and I think it's going to be the same for you, RC.
Yeah, too slow overall. Modeled great, but just too slow of an aircraft.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, just how it is. Just how it is. So it's based on. So our non-favouriteness is based on its lack of capability, which is fine. This one's a bit of a deal breaker for me. This is the AV-8B. I think some people may follow me, some people may not. So the AV-8B is a really good plane. It's probably the best, along with the Tomcat, the best visual in DCS cockpit, outside. Just everything. Someone spent a lot of time making that. Sounds, I know they're horrible, piercing, annoying, but sounds pretty good. Inside, everything, capabilities are good amongst at the top. It's not an air-to-air plane, but air-to-ground. You've got your T-pod, you've got your CAS page, you've got really good stuff. Does it fly well? Yep. I don't know what a real plane would be to fly like, but this is what I would imagine an AV-8B would be to fly like. So it's really good. However, for me, and again, disclaimer, this is meant to be all our own biases, and the disclaimer for me is that it's been, for me, since I've had it for, and I bought it for the full price of $60 or whatever it was, for the last couple of years since it's been out, it's been so bugged for me. I don't know about you. So many things haven't worked. Yes, it's early access, I know, but I paid my $60. I want it to at least be fairly good in early access. But it's been so many bugs so many times that my thought when I'm going to go and fly it in a mission is, hey, you know what? I'm not going to pick it because I know that T-pod's going to be bugged again. I know that missile's going to be bugged, and it's probably ruined it for life for me now. I probably won't go back to it for that reason. And that's one thing. If you're going to release an early access module, yes, we understand it's going to be in development like the Hornet, like the F-16. But the Hornet and the F-16 aren't very bugged. They haven't been very bugged. This has been, I think you'd agree with me, pretty horrendous. And probably won't get me back because of that reason. Sucks, but that's how it is. Your comeback on that and your decision, RC.
Yeah, I think the problem is there have been a lot of back and forth bugs with it, especially with the weapon systems.
Oh, it drives me nuts.
But it's just one of my favorite planes to fly because of the flight model, because the challenge of the VTOL takeoffs and landings and the capabilities of it are pretty amazing. So I do enjoy flying it a lot. It's not ruined for me, but I have to be careful what I choose it for because the bugginess of it.
Yeah, that's the thing, and it kind of goes back to if I was the idea of today. If I'm going to go and fly a mission and I want to A, have fun, and / B, maybe look at capability. The capability is ruined because I know something's going to be wrong with the Mavericks this time or something, and A, am I going to have fun? Probably not, because it probably won't work, and something will go wrong. I'll get pissed off and I'll rage quit. That's just how it is for me. Again, personal biases. Suck it up. Okay, guys. Next, we'll get into the big heavy hitters. These are the big sellers. AV-8B was a big seller. F-18 was the biggest seller of all time. Probably nothing will sell more ever in DCS than the F-18C, and that's because it can do a lot. It can do everything. Everything in DCS can be done by a Hornet. Nothing else has the multi-role capabilities of the Hornet, and nothing ever will do. So it's sold the most, and it's fine, that makes sense. Now, you'll be surprised that I've got it on my favourite list, because I always slag it off. And I slag it off because when something's really good, I can't think of any examples. If something's really good or someone's really confident and they can, handle criticism, then I tease them. It's what I do. If they can't handle criticism, then I don't tease them, right? And the Hornet, everyone knows it's good. Everyone knows how good it is. Everyone knows how many it's sold. Everyone knows how successful it is. So I tease it, I bully it, because it doesn't have many weak points. That's what we do. However, for me, and I don't like it in air-to-air. To me, in air-to-air, it's too fiddly, it's too complicated. It's a plane you've really got to sit down and learn. I don't have time for it. I've got to constantly be re-reviewing 38 modules. I can't sit down and learn it that properly. So air-to-air, I don't use it. But air-to-ground mission. If I wanted to have an air-to-ground mission in a modern theatre, I wanted to get some stuff bombed accurately and whatnot. B, I wanted to have some fun. To be honest, I'd probably pick the Hornet every time. It works. It's early development, but it's never been really bugged like the Harrier, or if it was, it's pretty easy to get around it. So it's pretty solid. The graphics, top notch, obviously. Sounds top notch, although I hate the cockpit sound. Please do something about that. And I know, just know I'm going to have a good time. Good, solid, capable. Air to ground is actually really easy to use, I find. It's just point and click, green button stuff. And that's why it's gone on my favourite list. I know that'll be a bit controversial, but that's my logic behind it. There's nothing else to say on it. Next, RC on the Hornet.
Be the same as you. It's a great, for me, all-around aircraft. You know, takes a little more effort to do air-to-air on it, but it is capable. And it's just modeled well. And I can't wait till they actually finish it.
Roger. Yep. I've kind of got... what's the word where you get kidnapped and you start to love your kidnapper? Stockholm syndrome. I've started to get Stockholm syndrome with Wagner and ED now, because I've spent so much time with planes in early access now. I almost don't want them to be released, because I've learnt to love my Captor, and I kind of like the secret thrill of the next week of the next kind of weapon coming out on it. It's weird, and it's like when it's complete, it's going to be like, oh, I'm not captive anymore. Anyway, there you go.
You'll be captive on other
I'll be captive on other planes. There we go. Anyway, so that's that. F-18 Hornet. It's hard not to put it in your favourite list because of just how good it is as a module. Next, MiG-19P Farmer. I almost chose this over the MiG-21. It's right in my sweet spot of 55 to where it's actually early 50s, but you know what I mean, 55 to 70. It's right in that slot there. Of the usage, it's kooky, stupid, terrible radar, but you know, it's cool. It's just a plane I like. It's hard to fly, not easy to fly. The only thing that I didn't go for it is there's some problems with it. Razbam hasn't quite, the feel of it still isn't quite right, I don't think. I think they probably accept that. The sounds are the worst cockpit sounds in DCS, flat out, absolutely appalling. No excuse for having something that shit. And it's got some bugs as well. It's Razbam, so it's got bugs. It's got I know it's early access, blah 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 blah. But you know, that's not my problem. And the missile aiming, the rocket aiming still doesn't work. I don't think the bomb aiming still doesn't work as far as I can remember. I haven't checked it out in a while. The missiles, they were not working. They may be fixed. I don't know. However, unlike the Hornet, it hasn't been enough to put me. Unlike the Aviator, it hasn't been enough to put me off. So I still fly it when I can, and I still like it. It's just right in that sweet spot for me. Anything on the MiG-19? I
really enjoy it too, but just didn't make my list.
Roger. Tomcat, again, another one that's hard not to have on your list. The amount of work. I don't have a particularly good relationship with Heapler. They've made absolutely no effort at all to be nice to be in any way. But the work is amazing. Tomcat, you know that. You know, if you've sit down and study that, watch my tutorials, my review, second to none in graphics, second to none in... No, the sounds are actually still terrible external. Internal sounds are good. Capability is just spot on for the plane. The feel of it is good. It's got a really odd feel, really like nothing else here. And maybe that's because it is like nothing else here. It's the only swept wing plane. It's the only really big lift body plane. It's not easy to fly. I never recommend it for a first module unless you're an experienced virtual aviator. You can very easily piss yourself off trying to fly this thing. But really good, really. And again, if I'm going to go to a mission, I want to A, have fun, and or B, have some good air-to-air capability. I'm going to fly the Tomcat. I know it's going to be a good mission if I fly a Tomcat. It's solid. It won't bug. It won't crash. Actually, I'll take that back. It probably will crash. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Something rip their wings off.
Something weird. Apart from but I personally learned how to get around it. I've done it in a long time now. Yeah. But it's gonna work. You're gonna remember how to use it. It's not that complex to use the basic systems on it. I hate the gesture system. However, I understand that is the only way they can do it. So I can't hate it really too much for that. I'm guessing you're gonna say the same thing as me. But what do you think, RC?
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing. It's an amazing module. I love flying it. I love the fact that you can have a Rio, and I love the Rio seat. It's good. It's a lot of fun to be back there. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a shame we never get to do the Rio stuff. The problem is it sucks up 2 players to have one Tomcat. And if we're doing a competitive match, which is usually the kind of match we would have with a Tomcat, it's just more efficient to have 2 Tomcats
rather than having 2 humans in 1 Tomcat, if that makes sense. So that's why we don't do Rios.
If you learn how to manipulate Jester, you can pretty much get what you want out of it. But it's still not as good as a human.
No, it's never going to be as good as a human in terms of just funability. Just having fun in it, and which is what all this is about at the end of the day. This is a video game at the end of the day. Okay, also the systems on it. Although this is the Bravo model is a is late 80s. Oh, I don't know. It's late 80s, I think the Bravo was, or mid 80s. The tech on it, a lot of tech on it, is still really early feeling tech, like almost 70s tech, maybe even pre-70s tech on some of it. There's no fly-by-wire and so on, and so it almost fits in my 55 to 70 technology slot that I'm really into. So that's that. Guys. Yak 52 is a little plate. It's actually a really good module. I prefer it to the Christian Eagle in terms of civilian plane. It's a trainer. It's got no gun, so it has no real use in DCS. But it is, it's just a really good module. The cockpit is one of the best. The flight model is one of the best in terms of feel and so on. But it can't be a favourite because what you're supposed to do in it, Thoughts I'll see.
Fly it around. Fly it through a tunnel.
Yeah. That's on to the Anton. The Anton of my Warbird. I didn't want to award more than one favourite point to a Warbird because, I like them all, to be honest, but I can't make them all my favourite. The Anton, I think, is the best Warbird for me. I think it looks the best. I think it sounds the best. Possibly rivaling with the I-16. That is also very good, but the I-16 is just too difficult to use for me. It's right up there in easy of use. It's a shit dog fighter. Don't buy the AA if you want to go and fight Spitfires. Is not going to happen. Great ground attacker though, and it's just a good feel, really good feel for me. My favourite of the Warbirds. Not the best, certainly. If I want to get something done, want to go and dogfight, I'm not going to choose an Anton. But your feedback, RC?
Same thing. It's a comfortable aircraft to fly, but don't plan on catching anybody. Yeah,
it's just not a good performer.
Or a bomber.
It's not a good performer, really. Yeah, I-16 is actually a really good module. If you've flown it, it's one of the best graphically, and sounds are very good as well. However, it's just, again, it's not actually very useful, and therefore rarely will you actually have fun in it in at least a big campaign kind of thing, competitive type side of things, because it can't keep up with its contemporary Warbirds. I know it's as early as 1939. So it was an odd thing to introduce into DCS, really, because it doesn't really compare to the other Warbirds. And so it's a bit of a loner, and therefore I'll honestly probably never fly it again. That said, it is a really good module. Honestly, I've got nothing against it. There's no bones to pick at all. But there you go. Christian Eagle is just like the
Great
Yak.
guns.
Great guns, yeah, there you go. Christian Eagle is another civilian plane. Yeah, obviously, it's not my thing, and you can't really do any combat in it, so I can't have it as a favourite. F-16. It was very lucky for me. F-16 is probably my favourite plane from what I call the Big Six, the big late Cold War fighters. So post-70 to kind of 90s, those Big Six, the F-16, the F-14, the F-15, the F-18, the Su-27, the MiG-29, my Big Six. It's my favourite, and it was lucky that they got it right. Eagle Dynamics made it, and they got it right. Hopefully, they listened to feedback for some guys, and they got it right. Sounds perfect. Flight model, perfect. Does it fly like a real F-16? I don't know. I'll never know. But it fools me into thinking it should do. There's no foibles. There's nothing weird. There's nothing annoying. Visuals perfect. Sounds perfect. Feel perfect. Is it actually a decent aircraft in capability? Not really. It can't really compare to an F-18 in air-to-air. It just can't carry enough missiles. Can it compare to a Tomcat? Not really. Because it doesn't have long-range missiles. Can it compare to the Jeff? At the moment, not really, because its missiles aren't as good as the Jeff. But, it's just good. It's a really good module all round. One of the modules, I can't actually think of a fault on it. Is it good at air-to-ground? To be honest, I don't think so. I'll always take the F-18. I find this fiddly, awkward, and annoying in air-to-ground. The Fighting Falcon, yes, I know it's early access, but it's probably going to be like that. When you compare it to something really big like the F-18 for air-to-ground, Thunder, air-to-ground, which are really good. However, you want to have a good flight, you want to have some good formation, you want to have some good graphics, you want to have some good sounds, you want to have a good time, solid, no bugs. Yeah, take that back. It's a favourite. Always going to be a favourite for me. Anything you want to add to that, RC?
Yeah, I think that the problem with the Falcon is it was never originally made to be a ground pounder, so it doesn't do as well.
I feel that too. I feel like they just kind of shoehorned a bit of ground attack onto it, and someone said it's just that it's quick and get to air to ground action. Yeah, it is. We did it the other day. I just pressed air. I haven't flown it on air to ground for ages. I pressed air to ground, automatically had a CCIP selected and everything like that. It's kind of hard to really get to what I'm pointing at, but for instance, if I wanted to go and launch some GBUs, which is a normal thing, but laser guided bombs, I find it awkward. I find it blocks its own laser and stuff, and I'm sure yes you can work out how to get around it. But for me, I don't have time to go and train and stuff like that. I'll always just take the Hornet for ground attack because I know it will work well, and it has no foibles. So anyway, that's and he can't carry a massive amount of ordnance. I shouldn't imagine either the F-16. So from that point of view, you're going to be pretty light. You're probably going to have bags on and stuff like that. However, it's just awesome. It's just awesome. And I'm so happy that Aerodynamics made it good. All the things that I like have gone into that plane, including all of its inefficiencies. J-17 Thunder came out of nowhere. We're like, boom, it's released, and it's all there, and all pretty much, not all of it works, but most of it works. However, interesting, RC's got it, and capability is really good. Capability almost kind of reminds me of an A10C in that it can do so much capability. Well, there's just, you've got your big funking MFDs there. You can do a lot with them. You can drop pretty much any type of weapon on any face, and it's there. For me, it's not my favourite. It just hasn't got everything. The sounds are too quiet inside and outside. Yes, you can pump your sounds up on your soundbar. You shouldn't have to do that. It's not your problem if a developer made something too quiet compared to the mean of the rest of them. That's whoever made this. Deca Ironworks' problem. They have to fix that. And if it's too quiet, I lose a lot of the feel. Its capability, it's great, but I mean, I'm not turned on by, I know most of you are, I'm not turned on by MFDs and T-pods and stuff. I think it's just too nerdy. It's too far away from my 1955 to 1970 sweet spot for me. And I don't find it particularly sexy in terms of, does it give me a virtual hard-on? Not really. It's just kind of there. It fills a spot. I'm not saying it's bad in any way. It's a good module with, but interestingly, RC's got it as red. So I'm guessing it's because you like all the MFDs and T-pods. What do you think?
No, not necessarily. I like it, and I've been flying it lately in the evenings. I like it because it flies well. It's multi-capable, and it does have a huge capability in terms of what it can do, and it's a good air-to-air aircraft. I think Deca took a lot of liberties with their weapons on it, which they're hopefully taking care of now. But I think it's very capable in terms of air-to-air, and had some good luck with it. So I'm really enjoying flying it.
Roger. Again, that's fine. For me, it just doesn't have a spot. It's like, why would I fly the Thunder when I can just fly my Falcon? No, I can't do as much cool stuff as I can in the Thunder. But I'm not really that kind of guy anyway. I just know I'll have more fun in the Falcon. That's why. It's because it's so close in capabilities to the Falcon. It's just, for me, doesn't make sense. Right, we're going to go to helos next. We've only got 4 helos at the moment, so we're only allowed to use 1 point. My favourite, in fact, we'll go through all of them. Gazelle, it's not for me. My complaints with the flight model. I don't know, the flight model may be accurate, maybe not. I don't like it. To me, it doesn't feel, I can't feel the weight of the chopper. I'm never going to like it. So it's a shame because it's a plane, again, like the Mirage, I love watching other people use it, where I don't have to feel the kind of weirdness of how it moves. I love watching good pilots use it. Great thing to watch. Great capabilities, great realism, and stuff like that. MI8 is a really good module. It flies amazingly, amazing amounts of feel, amazing amounts of feedback. For me, it's too much of a glass helicopter in that it's almost too realistic, in that it's very hard to have a good fun in a mission unless you're really good. And I'm never going to be good enough with a helicopter to fly an MI8 in a mission, be durable, be survivable, without VRSing, without getting hit in the engine by a rogue 7.62 bullet and having your helicopter fall down. And therefore, I've never had fun in a mission with an MI8. Just not good enough. Simple as that. So hence it's not my favourite. Anything to add to the Gazelle and the MI8 so far?
Gazelle, I would agree. MI8, I have a lot of fun flying, but it is like the MiG-21. It's a difficult aircraft to fly.
Yeah, which is weird because I enjoy the challenge of the MiG-21. I guess I'm just not in enough. I'm not enough into helicopters to want to challenge in a helicopter. To be honest, we fly one maybe once a month, if that. You know, why would I spend something that I know I'm going to crash? Yeah, again, don't let me put you off. You know, if you want a challenge, go and buy the fucking thing. But KF-50 Black Shark 2 for me. So this is the first full fidelity module in DCS. Came out in 2008. Oh, sorry, was it first or was the A10 first? Yes, this was.
I think
first.
this was
2008.
First.
Yeah, first. Really strange one to come out. A helicopter with first full fidelity. Great module. Great abilities of it. It's got great weapon suite. It's sensors, lasers. You know, it's the equivalent of the A10C in a fast-moving helicopter body. Is what it is. For me, it's not my bag. It's too advanced. I don't like advanced helicopters. It flies a lot. It's full of autopilot. You know, which is cool for a helicopter because it takes the flying requirement away from the pilot, but that's exactly what I don't want. Remember, I want 55 to 70. I don't want any kind of autopilot at all. I want pure stick and rudder input. And so for me, although it's got some cool weapons, it's as far away from flying as I'd ever want to be. Never almost have I been in a Black Shark and felt I'm fully in control, because I'm not, right? That's the whole idea of the K50. Most of you will like it and will like it because it's, you know, it's got the capability, the big manual and whatnot. Not for me. URC?
I put it down as my favorite because I like the flight model of it. I think it's a challenge to fly, even with the autopilots on. Sometimes I'll just turn off the autopilots or hold the trim button and fly it on my own because it's so challenging. So coupled with that and the capabilities of it is I can go out and I can kill a lot of ground targets with it. I just enjoy it. Now, it was struggle because I do enjoy the Huey a lot, but just like the Black Shark a little
it's a bit like the reason you like the A10. You can just go and destroy 20 tanks, which you can't do in anything else apart from a Black Shark. Right? It's, I just had someone come here from Artie. Cat would hate the... fuck's sake. Stand by. Trying to get this on the screen. From Artie here. Cat would hate a DCS Typhoon if it was developed a flying computer. I get that, and maybe you're right, but in terms of... it's just a point I want to make out. In terms of the fly-by-wire, at least, the flyability of it, the F-16 here is complete fly-by-wire as far as I'm aware. So that means, you know, pitch, roll, and yaw, I think, are all fly-by-wire. Hence, you don't really have any control of it. It's all controlled by the computer. However, it's tuned, at least in the DCS model, at which you can barely notice it. It almost feels like you're flying a real plane, which is actually a subtle difference, I find, between the 17 and the 16. The 17's fly-by-wire I find more intrusive, and I don't feel like I've got as much control of the plane. The F-16, yes, it has a fly-by-wire, because if it didn't, I would just crash it immediately, because it's an unstable aircraft, I'm pretty much sure. But the feel of it, again, they've tuned it, and again, the difference between the F-18 and the F-16, F-18 fly-by-wire, not so good. It feels intrusive. It feels, lots of people say this, it feels like you're driving a spaceship where you don't have full control of the plane, because you're not. It's an intrusive fly-by-wire system in the F-18, assuming that DCS has modelled it right. The fly-by-wire system in DCS for the F-16, very unintrusive. Feels like you've got a lot of control over it. Feels like maybe you've got more control than you actually have. But that's great. That's what I want. I want it to feel like a bit more like a Warbird than an F-18 or a JF-17. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. Okay, Huey, it's just good to fly. It's going back to the original specification. If you're going to fly a mission, what would you want to fly? Probably a Huey. It's average difficulty to fly. It's easier than a Mi-8, but it's harder than a Black Shark because it doesn't have the autopilots, but it doesn't stall as much as the Mi-8. It doesn't have as many problems. It soaks up a lot of damage compared to the Mi-8. It's just probably a less realistic but more useful damage model in DCS, because I don't want to die if I get shot by one rogue AK bullet. I want to take lots and lots of rounds before I go down, because it is a game at the end of the day. I know I trigger a lot of people, but that's just my thoughts on it, and I want to have fun. And it's okay, it can do odds and sods. It can't blow up tanks like the Black Shark can, but you can go and shoot you know, like the Armoured Vics and stuff like that with the auto-aim guns and stuff like that. So it's my favourite. Sounds good. Feels good. Best feeling one out there as far as I'm concerned. That's it. That's that. Maps. Corpses. World War II Asset Pack. Nevada Test Firing Range. Normandy 1944 Persian Gulf. We'll quickly blast through them. Caucasus was my favourite. The reason it's my favourite, now everyone's fed up of the Caucasus, right? I've been in DCS for 5 years nearly, and I am sick to death of the Caucasus. But it's the only one that actually works. I know, I'm going to trigger wags here or whatever, but it's, let me try that again. It's the only one that actually works for what we do. That is mass multiplayer, mass organised multiplayer, where we're going to have lots of people in the same place at the same time. So we can easily have a 25 versus 25, red versus blue, probably even in the latest version 2.5.6, which is not working very well, in the Caucasus. It just works. Why? No idea. Probably because it's probably because of the programming. They've just programmed it better than they've programmed the other ones. They've had it a longer time. That would be my guess. Okay? And so it works, and we have good fun, which is the main thing in DCS at the moment with maps and stuff like that. So many problems in my group at the moment. So many problems. World War II Asset Pack, I don't know. I just put it in there. To be honest, it's meh. It's okay. It's got some cool ground units, but it's the only planes it's got is DCS as the B-17, and that barely works. Well, it doesn't work, at least on multiplayer. The guns don't fire properly. Nevada Test Range is a cool map. However, for me, it can't be my favourite because we can't use it in DCS simply because not enough people in my group have it. And to be able to fly on it, everyone in my group has to have it. Otherwise, we're uninclusive, and I don't want to be an uninclusive group. An uninclusive group will self-implode, eat itself alive. Can't happen. Have to be inclusive. Can't use it. Normandy, same thing. Personally, I don't think it's a particularly good map anyway. I've always thought it looked shit. Like go over the Isle of Wight, and it just looks just not right compared to other modern games. You know, you've got to compare it. This is out in 2017. Go and find other games like IL2 that have modelled the same bit of terrain. It looks twice as good. And it's a bit laggy as well. I've noticed in DCS. I just don't think it's a very good job. And the same problem anyway. We couldn't, even if we wanted to, we couldn't fly it because we need everyone to have it, which they won't. You can't ask everyone to buy all maps. You know, it gets too expensive for people. Persian Gulf. That is something we can fly because it is something we've said. If you're going to be in the Grim Reapers, you have to have Persian Gulf. If you haven't got it, you can't join because otherwise you won't be able to come fly with us. And we need something other than the Caucasus. However, and it's a cool map, looks great, no complaints about it, but it just doesn't work on mass multiplayer. It simply doesn't work. Does it, RC? It just doesn't work. Even before 2.5.6, it was slow and laggy as F. Even though what I consider a less detailed map than Caucasus, I may be wrong by that hashtag. So for us, mass multiplayer doesn't work. Your thoughts on the map? Round up quickly, RC.
So I love Caucasus because I love the terrain of it, but I like Persian Gulf even more, and I know it's got some performance issues because it's the largest map I believe we have, or one of the. But I love the different areas you can go in the Persian Gulf. I love the islands and the ocean and the mountain ranges north. So it's just I like it overall as a map. But Caucasus is definitely close number 2.
Okay.
For me.
Okay, upcoming and no restrictions. So you can take this with a pinch of salt. It's just personally, we just wanted to see which of myself and RC are excited about which planes and why. Okay, so I know we'll upset ED in saying stuff, but again, these are our personal biases. We're allowed to have personal biases. That's what makes us human. Upcoming, no restrictions. Supercarrier. I know it's coming out. The Supercarrier is coming out. Personally, I know it's just what is it, RC? I don't get it. It's just the carrier with humans running about on the top. For me, it's going to make no difference.
I think I think it's that. I think it's going to be scaled a little differently, but
okay,
we'll have to see. I don't know.
All right,
I mean, all that excited about it.
No, same here. I mean, nothing I say is going to stop you guys buying it, so I can just say what I think. I just don't see the point of it. Hey, I may buy it, and suddenly it's amazing, and I think I needed this in my life. But at the moment, I've got perfectly good carriers. Why do I want to pay money for this? So I may be wrong. We'll see. Right. But the answer is I'm not excited. F-15E Striker, I'm not excited.
Thought you were really excited about this.
I'm not. I know everyone is out there. You guys want it. You want your MFDs and stuff. It's just, you all know by now, it's not my plane. It's just, for me, I'm not into this type of plane. And this type of plane, which I mean modern, highly advanced avionics, targeting systems and stuff like that. We've already got a bucket load. You've got a Thunder, you've got an F-16, you've got an F-18, you've got an AV-8B, all with similar systems. Just kind of adding another one to the pile for me. And for me, I can't remember how to use all of these really complex planes. It's going to be one. Either I'm going to learn to use the F-15E and I'm going to have to scrap another complex one out of my mind, or I just learn the F-15E and then I'll never drive it again, like I've done with a lot of planes. It's just how it is, right? You can't remember everything. So that's my bias, why I don't like it, and I'm not into it. Maybe wrong. Maybe it's the best thing in the world when it comes out. But there you go. Your thoughts, I'll see.
I'm with you. It's going to be a little bit much. However, I'm excited that it'll be a 15 that can do some ground.
More jump. Yep. To me, you know what it'll be like, and I've realised only while making this video, is that a lot of planes I just don't like flying for various reasons. I can't remember how to use them or whatever, but I like watching them. I don't want to fly an A10C in any way, shape or form. I do quite enjoy watching people lob, carefully placed JDAMs and stuff like that. I enjoy watching. Probably the same thing. F-15, I don't particularly want to fly it, but if it comes booming by me in a cool canyon run with a couple of experienced operators in, cool. I really like that. I want it in a group. I just don't want it myself. MiG-23 Flogger, right up my alley. I know it says 1985, and of course it's a late version of it, but it's going to be, it's like the MiG-21 Biz. Yes, it is a modern version, but most of its characteristics are back from the mid-50s one. And this is going to be back from this is going to be similar, I expect, to the 1960s original. Presumably, I think it's 1960s. I haven't researched this, and it's right up my alley in terms of my early Cold War plane. I think the 23. I think it's a fighter, isn't it? The MIA, not MLA, or a fighter bomber. So I think it's going to be great. It's not going to be fingers crossed, it's not going to be too complex to learn. I don't want something that's too complex, but we'll see. That's it. Big, loud, smoky, inefficient, sexy, not too complex. That's what Cap wants. What do you think?
I think the same thing. I think along the same veins as the MiG-21, I think the MiG-23 will be fun to fly.
Roger.
Done right.
Roger. Phantom 2 could be the best plane in DCS. You've got everything going for it. It could be. I'm not saying it will be. They might fuck it up, might ruin it. Big two-seater. So you've got the two-seater, the Rio thing from the Heat Blur's plane. Sorry, I forgot what it's called. The Tomcat. Sexy. It's right up my alley. 1955 to 1970. Real-to-real technology. That's just the stuff I like. Hopefully not too complex, but we'll see. May need to be quite complex. It's made by ED, so I mean, like it or not, they do make the best modules in DCS overall. However, they may tame it down too much. One good thing about the Vigan and the Tomcat is they really sexed it up. Big sounds, big visuals, big effects. Eagle Dynamics tend to scale everything down, make it a bit more nerdy, a bit like the F-18. So this is a plane we don't want nerdy. This is a plane we want big, loud, smoky, in your face. That's the feel we want from this plane. So it could go good, could go bad, but it has the possibility of being the best plane in DCS. I think we'll just have to see how it goes. Will it sell particularly well? Probably not. The fact is, well, I don't know. I don't have access to the sale figures, but people, like I said, they want their T-pods. They want their crap that I'm not interested in. Are they going to want a Phantom? Probably not. Probably only the diehards like me will. But we'll see. I don't know. I may be wrong. So it should be really good, I think. Thoughts on the Phantom? I'll say it should be a handful to fly as well, which I enjoy.
I would agree with you. Was the F4E, was that carrier based?
Can't remember. I haven't looked into it yet.
Yeah. I would hope that they would have a carrier based F4.
Yeah, I'd imagine they probably would have that to maximize sales. Yeah, carrier based it says there, so it is. Yeah, that will be. And they'll bring out a carrier with it, I imagine. So that's that. I mean, and just look here, all this stuff coming out and how much we are wanting it. That is a great indication of the DCS are listening to people and bringing out stuff that they want, because we could have like one or two things here. You know what I mean? So it's great. Next, F8 Crusader. I'm waiting on Mag3 to get me back for some details for that. I want to do a video on it, but perfect, right up my alley. 55 to 70, perfect, early Cold War fighter. I thought it was No, it's not carrier based. I get it mixed up, don't I? Or is it? Oh, I can't remember.
The Corsair was carrier based.
Yeah, I get them mixed up.
Yeah, if the F8 was.
You know what? From as far as my description of why I like it, just rinse and repeat my description of the MiG-23. That's why I like it. Anything you want to add to the Crusader?
No, Crusader was carrier based. Sorry.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? I remember seeing a picture of its funny hunch wing. Next, we've got a Warbird F4U4 Corsair coming out. I want it. I'm interested in it because it's what I want. It's early. It's going to be relatively simple. It's it's going to be fun to fly. It's Mag 3, so the flight model should be okay. We'll see how it goes. They've done well with the MiG, their stuff so far. It's just what I like. Simple, cool, sexy, loud. Anything you want to add to the Corsair, the F4?
No, none on that.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
I can't think of any Warbirds they could add into this that I actually wouldn't be interested in, so, to be honest. The Kiowa, I put a half point there, because I'm not sure whether I'm looking forward to it that much or not. We've just spoken to the guys at Polychop. We had a great interview with them. Really good fun. But again, this is my personal preferences, This is not my official thoughts, if you know what I mean, or the thoughts of GR. I love the idea of a cool helicopter, the Kiowa. I remember from when growing up in the 80s and 90s, I remember it. However, I'm just a little bit worried it might be a bit too advanced for me. Having just seen a little bit of it, it looked maybe a bit too advanced. When I say advanced, I mean advanced in avionics and stuff like that. However, I may be wrong, I'm not sure, so I don't want to commit to anything. I haven't researched it properly because I just haven't had enough time. So maybe, not sure. RC, any thoughts?
I think avionics-wise, it's going to be pretty basic. But I think it's very powerful in terms of being able to coordinate attacks with the laser on top.
Okay.
That's why I like it. It really doesn't have much capability in terms of weapons. I mean, it has rockets and it can carry some Hellfires, but overall, I think it'd be a great support aircraft.
Roger. Okay, we'll wait and see. Right, next we've got the Warhawk 2, the next version coming out, if you like, and then the Black Shark 3 coming out. I'm not looking forward to either. I obviously didn't have either of these planes are my favourite. Neither of the planes are what I want. Also, I have a little bit of a gripe that it just annoys me a little bit because obviously it takes a lot of time to program these and put these modules in, again, the upgrades, when they could be spent on cooler projects, right? Getting new planes into the game, getting new people into the game. So that annoys me a bit. However, it's hard to justify that attitude when I've got all of these cool planes coming up, so I can't be too mad. So, but at least I can say I'm not very excited by them. They've got... Actually, I don't know. I understand what's going on here because the 2005 variant is what we're getting for the Warthog, right? But we've already got a 2005 variant. Apparently, it's going to have extra stuff. Or why wasn't there extra stuff in the first one? I didn't understand.
I don't know what the Warthog 2 is going to have. I know the Black Shark 3 is going to have air-to-air capability, but that's all I know about those.
Well, it's already got an air-to-air mode, and it's Skval, isn't it? And you can already launch.
It's going to have air-to-air weapons.
I assume it's just stuff that they missed out on the first modules for whatever reason and wanted to add it in. So, yeah, whatevs. I don't like wasted effort, basically. I don't like wasted effort, when you could go on to something I think more productive. But there you go. Hind, I'm half excited. Now, it is an exciting aircraft. I'm just a little worried it's going to be a little too advanced out of my... for avionics and stuff like that. I may be wrong. Maybe it's going to be smack bang in my zone. I'm not sure. I haven't researched it enough, so take that with a pinch of salt. I just don't know yet. RC, anything on that?
I'm looking forward to that one. Another attack helicopter.
Roger.
Awesome.
Next map. This is a map I'm excited about. It's the Marianas map. So, our stipulations at GR are different, or our requirements are different from you, the valued viewer at home. We have to have a map that you guys want a map that looks cool and looks realistic and stuff like that. We have to have a map that works with 50 people on it. It's a completely different requirement for what you want. And Persian Gulf doesn't work with 50 people on it. It never really has. To be honest, I'm amazed if it ever will. If anything, the engine in DCS is going to keep getting more and more complex, I imagine, as people want more and more stuff added. I don't think we'll ever be able to use it for what we want. That's not not GR's official view. Personally, that's what my gut says. Marianas Islands should have the ability for us. It's free, which is good, because getting people to buy these maps, 50 people in DCS, is very hard for our group. Secondly, I think it should be simple. It's going to be 90% water. How can they make that difficult to run with 50 people on. If they can get the courses to run 50 people on, I think the Marianas map should be probably what we replace Persian Gulf with. Persian Gulf I don't think is going to work, unfortunately. It hasn't shown itself to work in 2 years for us, for what we need it for, is what I'm saying. Marianas should, theoretically, with just a few polygons, work. And that's what I'm concerned about as the leader of GR, is to actually have shit that works. Not stuff that looks good, that's secondary. Stuff that works. Thoughts on that, RC?
Agreed. There's not much else to say about those. It's a wait and see thing.
Roger. Channel map, I don't know anything about it. I probably won't have any interest in it because the same reason. Normandy, because we can't use it. As a group, we can't use it. So no interest at all. It's a shame, but that's the way it is. Thunderbolt, yep, absolute interest. Another Warbird, like I said, to be honest, there's not many Warbirds you could put in there that I wouldn't be excited about for the same reasons as before. Mosquito, same reasons as before. It's going to be even cooler because it's so bespoke, weird, special, right? That I'm sure RC is just going to say the same thing as me. Falkland Islands and Syria. Falklands is, I think, quite cool. It's a bit special, right? Because it just is for English people. Maybe it's not for Yanks, but for me it is quite special. It's going to have the same problem. We're not actually going to be able to use it. You know, I can't get all those people to buy it. It's impossible. Syria, the same thing. We're never going to be able to use it. Any interest of the Falklands or Syria, RC?
I think Syria, if it's done well, Syria. The problem with Syria is being done by the same guys as Normandy. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there. But I think it has potential to be a great map. But you know, who knows? Again,
great on single player. Great for you guys out there. Go and have fun in Syria. We can't use it if it doesn't work for us. I thought the 105 was gone now, BO 105, and I'm not particularly excited. Came back in 1991.
Yep.
I don't know anything about it, so I'm not going to say anything about it. You know anything about it or care about it?
I know about the BO 105 because I used to fly in one as a medic, but they're rough. I don't know about their military experience, but they're not fun to fly in or to fly.
I'm worried it will be one of those things where you spend your $70 on it, you fly it once and you never fly it again. That's what I get a little bit worried about. I may be completely wrong. That's my personal fears. A7 Corsair, very excited about it for exactly the same reasons as the MiG-23, the F4 Phantom, the F8 Crusader. It's right up my alley in every way possible for that. And that's it.
I'm looking forward to the Corsair.
That was supposed to be a 10 to 12 minute video. We got a little carried away. You now know. No way. You now know my personal thoughts on every single possible module in DCS and the ones coming up. Disclaimer yet again, because I know what the internet will get when they get hold of this. This is my personal fears and anxieties. It is no longer, in no way official, no way meant to be empirical, in no way meant to be quantitative. They're how we feel about certain planes. Just looking at the stream.
The only thing I can say about it is I'm disappointed, and I know why, but I'm disappointed that Heapler is not making modules. They do such a good job. It's just unfortunate.
Okay, well, I don't know anything about behind the scenes, so I'm not going to comment. Artie says, Kat, what's your view on having a dynamic campaign engine? Will Grim Reapers use it, or do you still prefer to build your own? My personal thoughts, but remember, I'm a glass half empty guy, and RC is a glass half full guy, so we have different likenesses. My immediate assumption is it probably won't be useful. It probably won't be heavily multiplayer based like we want, and it probably won't have as much functionality as we want. I reckon, from what I've seen in other games with dynamic campaign engines, and we'll probably just say, you know what, guys, this just isn't working for us. They're not going to add the features in that we want. Therefore, we're going to just do it ourselves, even though it's a pain in the butt. However, that is purely based on my anxieties. I may be completely wrong, and it may be perfect for us. I don't know. I tend to go with my gut, and my gut tends to be right. Not always, but, you know, generally.
I don't think you can get more dynamic than human interaction.
I don't think it's going to be dynamic enough for us.
Right.
But you've got to remember, 99.1% of sales in DCS are to single players, guys who play on single player, and that's where all the time and development goes to. Multiplayer is purely a secondary, concern when Igor's son gets a chance on a Saturday night to do some programming, they'll go and do multiplayer, and rightly so. They're a company, they've got to make money, they've got to be fiscally responsible, therefore they will always prioritize single player and everything in single player. As far as multiplayer goes, I did very much doubt we'll get the development into it. Hey, if they do, if Nick decides, yeah, I want to put $10 million into doing this in multiplayer, great. I don't think he'll do it, but we'll see, just speaking. Anything on dynamic campaigns, RC?
No.
Right, hope you enjoyed that. See you later.